Hi, this is Pip Nixon here with Films in 5. Today we're doing slightly offbeats. We are discussing the new female Doctor Who, and I'm here with my best mate, Chris Chapman, who does write some of the Big Finish Doctor Who stories, which are released on CD. Is that right?
They are, and download.
And download as well, yeah. So also we have a professional connection to it today. So the new Doctor Who is female, and she is Jodie Whittaker, the actress. Yeah. How are you feeling about that as someone who was a long-term loving fan of Doctor Who?
Well, I mean, I'm very, very enthusiastic for it. I didn't think they'd do it. I did not think they'd have the guts to do it. I thought there would be a move to cast somebody who was maybe a bit younger and maybe more in the kind of Tennant-y, Matt Smithy kind of mould. And I think they'll want to reinvigorate the series and maybe try and bring viewers back. And I just didn't think they'd have the guts. So I love the fact that they've done this, and it will shake the series up, I think, in ways that we can't really think about.
It is established within the series, is it, that the Doctor can be a woman, and that isn't a problem in terms of the narrative stuff.
Yes, so it's been established quite relatively recently that we have seen Time Lords regenerate from male into female.
Right.
We've had the Doctor say, like, "Oh, why are you humans so bothered about gender? We just do what we like," you know.
Right. Okay.
And historically, there's no reason. They've never said it can't happen.
Yeah.
And Time Lords always tend to be quite mysterious about what their actual abilities they have until the writers decide they need them. So I mean, in terms of canon, I think it's fine.
Doesn't it tend to fall into two camps? The Doctor is either the kind of like the older professorial figure that people look up to, like McCoy or Pertwee, I suppose, or you get the more romantic kind of like leading man type with Matt Smith, or you get with David Tennant. And maybe with, who's the new guy who we just had?
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi, yeah, is sort of slightly in between that, where they're going for the older professorial thing, but also the romantic leading man. So if you have a female Doctor Who, is it somebody who's explaining things and everyone looks up to, or is it somebody who's more of a romantic figure that has a... Do you have to have a male companion if you have a female Doctor Who?
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how it changes the writing, because in some ways I hope it doesn't change the writing that much. I hope there's not a lot of reference in the script to, oh my God, I've got boobs and all that kind of stuff. I hope they just kind of let her be herself and get on with it. And I think historically, the Doctor for me has tended to be either a grown-up or a child. You know,
Right.
so you've had John Pertwee was very authoritative.
Yeah.
Capaldi, I would say, falls into that. And then in contrast, you had Patrick Troughton and Tom Baker running around, and Matt Smith running around as children.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for me as to whether they will treat her. Will she be able to be? Will they let her be ridiculous and silly? And I hope they do. I hope they don't feel that because it's the first woman in the role, they have to be somehow important about it. I hope they just let her have fun.
Yeah.
And I love her natural accent. Her Yorkshire accent is really charming.
Really, Yorkshire accent.
Really lovely. And so I kind of hope they play it like that, rather than... I'd be less keen if they... I know when she did Attack the Block, it was more of a London tone.
Right. Because I've only seen her... I've seen her in Venus with Peter O'Toole, but she's quite young, and she's very much the kind of sweet ingenue figure of desire. She's in Attack the Block, isn't she? Which I can't remember much in that, but I remember John Boyega being in that. He's fun in that, isn't he?
He's very good.
And she was in Broadchurch, and I must admit I wasn't entirely convinced in Broadchurch by her acting around, the loss of a child and those kind of things. But many people say she's good in, what was the film you just mentioned? It was,
Adult Life Skills.
Adult Life Skills.
Which I've not seen yet, so I'd like to see that.
There's a freshness to having no idea what the performance will look like in terms of how it will go forward, like you say, how they will handle the character. It'd be interesting to go back and look at the previous stories and say, if that wasn't a man, but it was a woman just doing the same script, how much difference it would make.
I don't think it would. The Doctor has always been kind of asexual. Has never been very defined by his gender, and that's the reason I think a lot of people are drawn to it, because it's not Captain Kirk, it's not a macho character. No, so whenever Doctor Who does start doing things like kissing people, we all get a little bit nervous.
There's a lot of that these days.
There's a lot more of that. Yeah. But so I don't think it will change the inherent character of the Doctor that much. I don't think it being Jodie will be any different to it being Matt after it was David, or Patrick after William.
Although I did think, would it be different though? Now fancy the Doctor, but then you take me back to the David Tennant era.
I think you fancied David Tennant.
So there's always a bit of that. Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm still more disturbed by the fact that the Doctor is younger than us. That's still kind of a little bit scary.
Yeah, no, that is right.
And we had that there with Smith as well, didn't we? But
so essentially, we're interested in it going forward. There was some fuss over which was an ex-Doctor, wasn't there, who said that it will stop it being a role model for young men because it's a female.
Well, I think this was blown out of proportion a bit. This was Peter Davison said words to that effect, but he was also giving heavy caveats about how he thought it would be brilliant, and he's been quite misquoted, I think.
Right.
He was driven off Twitter for saying that. So
Really?
I think a lot of the reaction has been quite hysterical by the media, that a lot of people have been looking at Doctor Who fans and saying, "Oh, they're so angry, they're outraged." And actually, I think maybe 20% of Doctor Who fans are kind of a bit not sure or negative about it, and that's fine, because when Matt Smith was cast, a lot of people were worried he was too young, and I think a new Doctor should make you go, really?
He was too young, wasn't he, in retrospect?
Well, no, I disagree with that, but some people felt that way, and that's fine. And I think hopefully those people will enjoy the new series, but the media would like to make you think the Doctor Who fans are a bigoted old bunch who are very angry.
Plus, fundamentally, the idea that boys can't be inspired by a female hero like Buffy or Wonder Woman or something is pretty silly, isn't it? So but it sounds like he was misquoted anyway. So our general feeling is that we think it's a good thing, very progressive and interesting that the BBC should do that. And certainly, I feel that the series itself hasn't really engaged me the last couple of years. And a change of the writer, a change of the Doctor, maybe a change of direction is probably what it needs, because it's started to feel convoluted and a bit overdone. But that's a whole other.
I think the lovely thing about Who is that when you regenerate the lead, when you regenerate the showrunners, it can just change. It can just give itself a new lease of life. And I've found a lot to enjoy in recent years. But I think it's essentially followed the model that's been set since 2005. And I'd be really curious to see if they shake that up quite considerably when it comes back next year. But we've got a while to wait. It won't be till next autumn, I think, 2018. So quite a while.
Well, we just sat and watched The Curse of Fenric.
The Curse of Fenric!
So it's got to be better than that.
No, what?
Anyway, so...
we love The Curse of Fenric. You love The Curse of Fenric.
I love The Curse of Fenric.
He didn't love The Curse.
Okay. Well, new female Doctor Who, so we're excited about it. Can't wait to see how she works out.